My name is Dave Custon. I'm one of the co-founders of Content Bacon. We work with Abe and his team at StaffLink. We're also a customer. Abe is a good friend, confidant, and someone that I trust very much when I have either questions about my business, my team, and most anything in general. And also, we're good friends from Entrepreneurs Organization. So again, here we are with Abe, principal and founder of StaffLink. And the purpose of this call and conversation is to get at what StaffLink's customers, prospects, perhaps even vendors need to know right now, what they should be focused on right now. And so say hi to Abe, everyone. Hi, Abe. Hi, Abe, why don't we start with your customers, with your clients first?
Sure.
What should they be concerned with or focused on right now?
Right now, all of my clients are really focused on cash flow. It's really difficult to run your business when you've been essentially shut down.
You don't say.
Yeah, I read that somewhere. So everybody's really concerned about cash flow. The things that seem to be on everybody's mind are the extended family medical leave.
Mm-hmm.
And the emergency PTO that came out, I think it's a little over a week ago. How exactly that's going to be rolled out, what it means for them. There are credits associated with that, how those credits are redeemed. And in addition, the CARE Act, which just passed last week, mm-hmm. is sort of the mechanism that's supposed to provide liquidity to small businesses, but there's a lot of questions about how that liquidity is going to, again, how it's going to be implemented, how it's going to be rolled out, how it's going to be accessible, what's available to them, what isn't available to them under the various standards. So most of my time right now is being spent keeping up on the daily changes that are occurring with respect to that legislation and trying to get that information out to our clients. And on top of that, helping our clients to comply with those things that we now know are going to be part of rolling out those relief efforts.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
So that legislation did just come out, get passed. Again, as a business owner myself, I have plenty of questions. What can your clients, rely on StaffLink for? What can they go to you for, if at all, with respect to that legislation in terms of getting answers or even support?
Well, first and foremost, we are staying very much on top of the daily developments. Now it's no longer a legislative issue. Now it's a regulatory issue. Mm-hmm. Not only am I personally involved in maintaining the information, yeah, or compiling that information, I'm also involved at the grassroots level in lobbying to make sure that our clients are taken care of with respect to all of those things. So, you can count on StaffLink to be in the position to influence how the rollout's going to happen. Then you can also rely on the fact that we're going to make all that information available to our clients as soon as we know it.
Great.
In addition to information, there's a lot of things that our clients are going to need to provide to the various agencies in order to apply for the relief or to implement the PTO. And mm-hmm. we have the technology, we have the technology partners. We are on top of all those changes. We're making those changes as rapidly as can be done. So all of those things we're not only helping to shape the direction of those things, but we are going to help our clients implement as well.
Okay, terrific. Now let's talk about the employees for a moment.
Sure.
What is your advice there, if you will, on what employees should be thinking about or focused on with respect to, again, right now, everything is changing so rapidly. So let's not talk too much into the future, but the short term, near term, what should they be focused on? What should they be, perhaps even counting on their employer for through this time right now?
I think it's just really important that they stay up to speed on the changes, up to speed on what's going on, that they constant communication with the employer about what's going on in the business. From my perspective, what I'm seeing is there are a lot of employees that are really pretty productive working from home.
Mm-hmm.
There are others that are not. And from my perspective, it's pretty easy to determine which of those are and which of those are not. But from the employee's perspective, there is help out there. There is real motivation given to the employer to keep everyone that they can keep employed. There's still work to be done there. There's still a lot that needs to happen. And, employees need to be reliable. They need to be there for the employer so that everybody comes out of this on the back end stronger.
Yeah. What might you say to, again, so we're going to shift this conversation just a little bit here. The prospects, the companies that you were speaking with, let's say in the last 30, 45 days, who were about to engage with you, engage a PEO to help them with their business, and they didn't do that. What might you say to those folks right now? Maybe looking forward a little bit further than, this week, next week, looking forward 30 days when things will very likely look different. Maybe not quite business as usual, but, perhaps they're going to start thinking about engaging again. What might you share with those folks now about the next, 35, 45, 60 days?
It makes a lot of sense, or it made a lot of sense to me to take a pause and sort of evaluate what was happening, what the government reaction was going to be, what was happening, what business was going to look like, at least in the near term.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if right now, and certainly in the next week or so, we have a really good idea of how things are going to start playing out and what it's going to look like. And by and large, we're back in business. I mean, StaffLink never stopped, but by and large, you're seeing more and more businesses adapt to the current environment and manage to continue to run their businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing more engagement. The issues that made StaffLink an interesting solution for you before are still there. In fact, they may even be more important now than they've ever been.
Yeah.
In addition to the human resources issues, the technology becomes even that much more important, and we do have great technology that we make available to our clients. Those things become really, really important in the evolving workplace, in addition to unique HR issues and just the need to have the data to comply with the new regulatory environment that we find ourselves in. And that liquidity is dependent upon being able to present information, and we make that easy. We do that for you.
So that's great. Let's assume for a minute, for the sake of this conversation, that the landscape of how our employees work is changed or has changed for a meaningful amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
The companies that went virtual overnight, they're going to stay virtual. My company's been virtual for years, so that we've already been in that space. But the companies that went virtual, yesterday, how is your relationship with them? What should they be thinking about? now we're talking maybe 6 months, 9 months, a year from now. How will StaffLink interact differently? How will StaffLink be a great, talk more a little bit about what you just said. How will it be a more valuable resource to those companies that are now virtual overnight?
It's really interesting because I have always resisted any kind of virtual, presence. I'm a sort of old fashioned. I like in-face meetings, and I prefer phone calls and that sort of thing. This has really shifted my perspective as well. I resisted having employees that worked from home. What I've learned is that with the current tools that are available and with the proper expectations set, the proper management, the proper metrics in place, it can be done and it can be productive.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only person who realized that. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see more and more of this sort of virtual business environment. And I think that's a long-term thing. I think that the way we do business will shift. That doesn't mean I'm still not a huge advocate of getting in front of people. I am.
Sure.
But this isn't a bad, backup plan.
Yeah.
And because of that, because of the need for even more structure in that virtual environment, StaffLink becomes that much more important to the clients, the procedures, the policies, the technology. This is a long-term play, and the long-term impact on business is going to require that business of every size has to be more forward-thinking, and they have to be more progressive, and they have to have that technology. We bring it to our clients.
Yeah. How concerned or how focused should business owners be right now with respect to how they're handling furloughs, layoffs, firings? Talk a little bit about that. I'm sure that's going to create all kinds of messes if not handled correctly right now.
Oh, absolutely. So in addition to, first of all, there are new legal obligations that have been created. So you have to be very careful about what you do right now, because there are look back periods in all of the legislation, and any termination now could be perceived as in violation of some of those things. Yeah. So just like always, HR becomes really, really important, making sure you've documented your files, making sure that the reasoning behind the terminations are real and that they're well documented. The other issues that become very important are unemployment. Right now, the unemployment system is burdened like it has never been burdened before.
Yeah.
I heard a statistic the other day that, and I didn't check the veracity of it, but the 3.3 million applicants that we had last week for unemployment far exceeded any 1 month period, even in the Great Depression.
I saw the same thing. The same thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's a massive hit. It makes 2008, 2009 look like, nothing. The good news is it's likely going to be a short-term thing that there was sort of a knee-jerk reaction to every business being ordered shut down. So hopefully it's going to be a much shorter-term impact. Notwithstanding, it's going to be a huge impact on the unemployment system, and the way employers respond right now will impact what they pay later on down the road. Workers' compensation becomes a big issue when you start having the fear of layoffs, the fear of unemployment, that you tend to see a rise in claims. Yeah. So things like that, making sure that you have somebody to run things by, somebody to check out your documentation. That's an important thing right now.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even take into account the liquidity solutions that the government has come up with and implementing those, which hopefully will allay some of those layoff concerns.
Yeah. Okay, great. I have one final question, and I think maybe next time we do this, we can get into some other audiences that are impacted by HR. There's certainly health insurance. That's a whole nother conversation we can have with respect to employer and employee.
That's a great point. And that's another really, really great point and a really nuanced area.
Yeah.
What do you do about health insurance for somebody that you're laying off for 30 days or 60 days?
Right. And how all that looks today is probably also going to look different in 45, 60 days.
Yeah.
So, we can cover that again in our next conversation.
Sure.
My last question or request is, what might you say to your fellow entrepreneurs, fellow business owners who are your customers or clients or anyone in general? I mean, I'm not calling you old, Abe, but you've been around. You've been around. You're experienced. You've you mentioned 2008, so you've gone through some interesting times and downturns. What little bit of experience might you share right now to your fellow entrepreneur business owner?
I would say this is probably the third significant downturn, third or fourth significant downturn that I've seen. What makes this one unique is that it happened overnight. And every other one, you could kind of see it coming for 6 months or a year. This one literally happened overnight.
Yeah.
But from that, I see a silver lining. Every economic indicator prior to that was really strong. And I fully anticipate that once we get back to some level of normalcy, we're going to quickly see a rebound. I think this will impact our psyche. As I said before, I do believe that business has changed, as a result of this. But I think it's going to make business better and stronger. I think we're all coming out of this leaner and better than we were before. And I know my entrepreneur friends and I know my clients. We figure out a way to take all of this adversity and make ourselves better and stronger from it. And I know that's what's going to happen with my clients and with my friends and my prospects. This is an opportunity for us. Let's not miss the opportunity. StaffLink's going to be here to help you. StaffLink's going to be here to help make that opportunity happen for you. And I just appreciate you guys. I appreciate all my clients, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. That's my takeaway.
All right. Awesome. Likewise, Abe. Thank you for that. That last bit was great. I appreciate it so much, and I know everyone else will too. So tune in next time for the next conversation with me and Abe, and we'll cover some other topics that are topics that you will need to know now. So thank you from Content Bacon. Thank you from Abe at StaffLink and his team, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks a lot, Dave.